Watch your brains, there's a zombie on the loose. Published by Mr. Illusion in February of 2022, this YouTuber captured what he thinks is a zombie on camera. Dressed all in black, the figure lurches through the high grass. On closer inspection, he appears to be missing his cranium. Despite this, the crew follows this creepy figure, who also looks to be carrying a tool or small hatchet in his hand. He weaves through the woods, off on a mission to do what? I'm not quite sure. Is this a zombie? Or something out of the mind of Ichabod Crane? A YouTuber named Yankee Reb travels to the haunted battlefield of Gettysburg, Virginia, and stands before an old battle cannon. He grows very still and records nothing but darkness for a full 20 minutes before any paranormal activity occurs. As the night progresses, a lone soldier silently marches around the cannon and stops just outside of the muzzle, which is where you would stand to reload it.
Holy down by the cannon, you see that?
Oh, what is that?
I say it could be a soldier because, aside from the historic location, I can also kind of make out the old style sash and hat that some soldiers used to wear.
No way. What is that?
I have no idea.
Did you get that on the camera?
It's recording.
Oh my gosh, did you see that?
His attire is most visible at around the 1 minute and 58 second mark, so that's when you can get the clearest and most direct look for yourself. Let me know if you can see what he has on.
Did you, honestly?
I wouldn't believe it unless we recorded it.
Maybe this soldier in particular was accidentally taken out by his own cannon while reloading, which used to happen quite often back those times. A TikToker paranormal team called Zodiac Supernatural is in the middle of the woods when this wild noise rips through an otherwise still night. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because it sounds massive and furious.
Really cold to be still.
I can't tell if it's being devoured, letting out a warning call, or just going crazy at their camera lights. I'm surprised that everyone doesn't immediately run away, which makes me wonder if they actually had some idea of what it was and possibly weren't telling us.
So it's really cold to be still.
One day, a YouTuber named Pedro Ruiz has an idea for the ultimate YouTube video.
The point of this video is I really just want to see if a .50 caliber bullet can go through a book.
He convinces his girlfriend Mona Lisa to unload a firearm into his chest at point-blank range while he holds nothing but an encyclopedia in front of himself for protection. Listen to the worried noise she makes here at the end of his request. Clearly, she doesn't think this is a good idea.
Let's do it.
Shortly after making this intro, Mona Lisa points at Pedro and hesitates. After being reassured numerous times by her boyfriend that he will be okay, she fires a round straight through the book, which then goes into Pedro's body. He perishes shortly thereafter. Mona Lisa was sentenced to 180 days in jail for making this video, but I want to hear your opinion as to whether this was a fair sentence or not. At times it seems as if she was clearly uncomfortable with doing this and was almost forced to go along. A paranormal investigation channel called Ghosts of Britain think they've met their match while exploring one of the scariest haunted places in their corner of the world. An abandoned house with an unsettling atmosphere and more creepy things in it than you can imagine. On the table they find creepy pictures left behind by someone young. A family must have lived here. The drawing and the lone meat hook in the corner do not pair well. Somehow I doubt that it was used to hang plants. They lay down a motion detector next to a toy for whoever made the picture to play with.
We want to try and make sense out of this place. We want to know about its history.
It isn't long before someone takes them up on their creepy invitation, and that's when things get really scary even for a team of ghost hunters.
Brianna. Bear's just gone.
Did you see that? The bear was just pushed over.
Oh.
The bear was just pushed over. Do you know what? People are going to scream fake at this, you know?
They think no one will believe this ghost video is real, but I think it's possible. Their equipment reads out the word Brianna, and then the toy falls over like a paranormal entity trying to pick it up. If it was on a string, then the object should have fallen towards them, but it doesn't. It falls the opposite way. Perhaps the ghost of someone small is still trapped in this abandoned house, or at least that's what the evidence would suggest. In many of these drone-on-human encounters, the drone is more the predator than the prey, but in this encounter, the drone operator is kind of both. Jacob Vetter, who published this drone footage in May of 2015, and claims that this crazy lady was doing weird stuff on his porch. In the video, you can indeed see a woman on a porch, dressed with her t-shirt overhead. When she spots the drone up above, she does as most people on this list have done. She tries to knock the drone out of the sky. First, she uses a stick. That doesn't go over so well. Then she tries plush dice. That doesn't work either. Next, she is seen swinging what appears to be a black purse, but she doesn't throw it. Instead, she puts it on and leaves the yard and paces back and forth waywardly on the sidewalk. It's uncertain what she's waiting for, if she's waiting for anything at all. Finally, she gets on her bike that's been parked on the sidewalk all along, and she takes off rather clumsily, circling around the yard, then jutting out right into the road. It appears that she's definitely on something. What, we can only guess, but the biggest question is, what was she doing on this guy's porch in the first place? Most ghosts don't ask for permission, they just let themselves in. Published in January of 2022, Amitav Paranormal Tech YT writes that during her last live stream, her REM pod activated, so she decided to leave some equipment on during the night. She also left her security cameras on. Here's what they captured. The door of the room swings open, apparently letting no one in. A light to the side on a table then turns on and blinking can be seen throughout the room. What just let itself in? Is it something to be feared? Either way, it definitely wants itself to be known. Grandma, is that you? Published to YouTube by Mordecai's Captured Moments in April of 2021. Mordecai writes, "One night years ago, the chair on my friend's porch was rocking on its own. The video shows an old wooden rocking chair standing outside a pair of wooden framed glass doors. The chair begins rocking in an unusual fashion, not like it's been disturbed by a breeze or knocked by something, but as though someone is sitting in it, rocking and halting according to whim. Apparently, this isn't the only scary incident that occurred in Mordecai's friend's house. She responds to a YouTuber that her house was so deeply scary that she never let anyone know how scared she really was. Thankfully, she moved 2,000 miles away from this haunted place. All she can hope for is whoever is rocking that chair didn't follow." What happened at the Mount Morris Mystery House in Pennsylvania? The homeowners reached out to Spirit Walk Paranormal after a spirit claimed they'd find human remains on the property, and they did soon find something.
What looks to be a canvas style material that has deteriorated over time.
Is it a body? Yes, but it's not what you think.
And that still doesn't make any sense.
No.
It had some sharp teeth.
You think?
The mystery continues as they use dowsing rods to speak with the spirits.
Do you know that I'm recording you on video right now? Can you point him to Ferris right? Is there someone else buried in the yard here?
Finally, they ask the spirit to point them in the right direction.
Where should we go? I just want to make a note that only the one rod has moved.
This is almost like a treasure hunt. X marks the spot.
Okay. If that's where Tyler just marked, make an X if that's where it needs to be.
Now it's time to start digging.
Yeah, I went to this because look.
Mm-hmm.
It's glass.
I hit roots.
They get nearer. Although they don't find the bodies they were looking for, they do find something else.
So we just found a hand grip from a revolver. Now it is made of plastic, so it suggests that it is newer.
Do you think it's relevant, or are there more secrets on this property? Apparently, ghosts like peering out of windows, because here's another creepy phantom showing up when you least expect him. This YouTuber captured this ghostly white figure staring out of the upper window of a nearby brick building. She posted the footage to YouTube in June of 2010, explaining that she took the video on her cell phone while playing on the green. She writes, "We saw a face in the window of a locked room. Kieran, the manager, took us up to look afterwards, but there was nobody there and the room is out of use. Couldn't sleep after I took this." As mentioned, Demi was taking the video of some guys playing catch on the lawn when one of them spotted the figure in the upper window, alerting Demi to the terrifying watcher. She zooms in on the window to catch the pale face of a young boy in the lower left corner. The figure slowly moves out of view. The remainder of the video shows the group climbing the stairs to see who is watching them from the upper room. When they arrive there, it's empty and looks as though it has been for years. There's graffiti on the walls and it appears no one lives there. Many in the comments call the video unsettling, noting that's not how a person moves. Ghost or not, I wouldn't want to run into this boy anywhere, let alone in this room. The State Line Bridge connects Virginia to North Carolina, but locals call it Satan's Bridge due to the large amount of ritual activity going on under there. A YouTuber named Scary Weather made a documentary about it almost 20 years ago, and recently came across the footage again. The first half of the video shows nothing but animal bodies littering the ground, which I can't show here. He then comes back the next day and videotapes all of the weird graffiti and other ritualistic scenes, like these 5 rocks for example. If you happen to know what this symbol means, or what enchantments were being cast here, then please share what you know, and also tell me what the white paint means here, because I honestly can't even begin to guess.
Also you see here 5 stones with a white mark in them.
This part of the bridge looks like it could be some sort of altar. There's a huge dark red stain on the ground that trails off into tiny blotches. Something tells me that's probably not paint, but let me know what you think. There's one last fact about this location that I have to tell you. Now, I'm not a numerical conspiracy theorist by any means, but the identification number of this state bridge happens to be 6906. If you take out the 0 and flip the middle 6, you get 3 6s in a row. We've seen plenty of poltergeists on top 15s, but this one is particularly aggressive. Posted to very spooky videos. A major malfunction writes, person captures saucer levitating as poltergeist takes over a room. The video begins in complete chaos as the light from an overhanging fan flashes on and off while the fan is going. Then on the wall, a picture in its frame starts to bang. A moment later, a cup levitates off the table, flings up into the air, and then falls to the floor. The man taking the video gets the heck out of there. That's right, put as many miles as you can between you and that poltergeist. Seems like Mad Max. When Joey Salvatore and his friends learn that their entire neighborhood is rumored to be haunted, they go to the local cemetery and try to get something on tape. They don't really find much and eventually come back home, but it looks like something found them and managed to attach itself to a friend named Roger. Now he is standing motionless with his back to them in a dark room, and they are too freaked out to do anything more than secretly record his reflection in a mirror. After a while, he sits down and stops moving completely, so they decide to put Roger in his room and check on him later. Roger is nowhere to be found, at least not at first.
Wait, turn the light on. What the Roger! I'm done.
They are totally freaking out when Roger comes wandering back into the room completely fine, wondering what had happened. The group feels unsafe at this point and has no choice but to send Roger on his way. Eventually, Roger says that he was just playing a joke on them, but it's unclear if he really means it or if he is just in denial. Three friends bravely choose to summon Bloody Mary while one of their parents records. They recite her name 3 times in the mirror, and when nothing happens, they decide that the legend is a bust. The dad makes fun of them for a little bit, and they go on with their day.
I guess now we know that Mary Worth doesn't like you.
According to them, it wasn't until much later that they actually looked at the video and noticed some strange occurrences that made them upload it onto YouTube. Look at the countertop in the upper left-hand corner.
Oh, please. Come on now. Well, what other ideas?
I don't know, other ideas of how to get her to jump out of the mirror at us.
Maybe it takes a little longer.
Like how long?
I don't know, like a couple minutes.
The candle appears to move by itself on at least 2 separate occasions. I guess it could have been magnets, but I really don't understand how. It's important to add that they were all picking the candles up to light them just a moment earlier, and nothing was hidden underneath. Give me your best guess as to how they moved these candles. Or better yet, tell me if you think it was Bloody Mary who was moving them. A YouTuber named JackCKXX is exploring an abandoned factory with some friends when they come across stairs leading to the upper levels. Something feels incredibly off about the place, but none of them want to look like the scared ones, so they all move deeper into the complex. They search around for a few minutes and don't find much besides an old picture. The factory has been abandoned for well over a decade, yet it feels like something is watching and following them at every turn. Finally, one of them has had enough and doesn't care about being brave anymore. He looks down a pitch black hallway and says,
"Oh, Jack, I think we should leave."
Now they are sure something is nearby and they start speaking in hushed whispers. It's hard to tell what they are saying, but it's clear that they are quite ready to get out of here. Meanwhile, whatever is watching them from the shadows is no longer worried about staying quiet and seems to be approaching fast. There's nothing left to do except find the nearest exit and get out, but everyone is too scared to think anymore and they remain frozen in place, listening in terror as footsteps draw near. Finally, something scares them into immediate action. They all run as fast as they can and quickly make it out of the factory in less than a minute. I have no idea what could make that noise, but I'm almost positive it wasn't human. Alex Griffin runs a sports channel nowadays, but years ago he was briefly into conducting paranormal investigations at the most haunted places he could find. One such foray was the exploration of Borley Church, a place where organs are said to play by themselves and chanting can be heard from inside. There's also the ghost of Katie Borham, a housemaid who was said to have lost her life under mysterious circumstances that could have involved unknowingly ingesting toxic chemicals. Katie is the ghost they are hunting tonight, and so Alex Griffin and his friends logically start exploring the old haunted cemetery for paranormal evidence. They make the mistake of disrespecting her name along the way and start hearing some scary noises soon after.
I don't know what to say. Just shut up, Katie. Katie! What the f? What the f?
The amateur investigators run away at first, but soon agree that they can't leave the mystery unsolved and need to find more paranormal evidence. They return to the cemetery, and the bravest of them steps forward to taunt Katie into showing herself.
Say, what happened again?
So I didn't see anything, but he senses a ghost, and I tend to believe him. After all, he was the one trying to impress his friends the hardest, so I don't think he'd run away like that and risk embarrassing himself unless he was really scared. The paranormal investigators step forward as one, and a single light glows in the woods even when their camera is not shining on it. It's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever recorded, but the timing is definitely odd and makes you wonder what this light could be. And with their backs turned, the noise returns. It sounds like one of them would have thrown a rock or something and hits the top of the tin roof, but then again, this is exactly the kind of paranormal activity that this place is known for. It's years later and not one of them stepped forward to take credit for throwing a rock and scaring the group, so maybe this supposed paranormal activity is real after all. The Menger Hotel in San Antonio, Texas, claims to be one of the most haunted areas in the entire state, and there are plenty of videos to back up this statement. One of these videos involves a brother and sister who both suddenly get a strange feeling from the building and decide to start recording. They are exploring a very small and cramped area of the hotel. As they are discussing the possibilities out loud, the woman suddenly announces that she is extremely uncomfortable. You can't see it very well at first, but soon the camera zooms in and reveals 3 deep scratches along the woman's bare shoulder. They look fresh and sting badly. She says that she was simply sitting on the steps for just one moment, and the jagged marks appeared as soon as she stood up. Judging from this video, it looks as though she may have been literally cut by an angry ghost. Your possessions are safe right outside your home. This series of videos will have you second guessing that. The uploader explains that the first video occurred on a Saturday night in June of 2019. It shows 2 women on the balcony of a house, innocently looking through a shoe cubby. After checking out a couple pairs, they suddenly race from the balcony. Apparently, this isn't their home, and they aren't supposed to be there. These same brazen ladies return in the second video. It appears they felt the need to trespass further. One of the women returns to the balcony, strolling across it at ease. That is, until she notices the security camera posted up in the corner. She laughs and covers her face, quickly leaving the balcony. It's not clear if these intruders made off with anything from the apartment, but Kazium asks viewers to spread the word. If not thieves, it's still creepy to imagine strangers lurking right outside your front door at night. Something is terrorizing these poor pets. Originally posted to TikTok by El Otrolado 21, a pair of pups are surprised by an unknown object being pulled or pushed across the ground. The security footage shows an item roll across the floor, seemingly on its own. Is it being dragged? Is it being rolled? By whom? One dog moves from his seat on the couch, while the other merely lifts his head as the object rolls before following his friend's lead. Is a human playing a trick on these animals? Or is it a phantom? A YouTuber named Sean Daywood is playing outside with his younger friend Ryan when a stranger comes out of the woods, and instead of ordering them off of her property, she demands they come closer to her. Here, she holds onto Ryan's arm and pulls him in when he tries to resist her grip. A much larger man comes out of the woods and backs up his wife. Then the woman turns around and simply says, "Come on," as if she expects Sean to follow. When he says no, she makes it clear that she will take him by force.
What do you mean no? You want me to fight you?
Sean tries to assert his right to leave, and she tells him that he is basically being held against his will.
We're leaving right now. Come on, Ryan.
He's not leaving.
When she gets within grabbing distance, Sean feels completely overwhelmed, and he and Ryan run. Who even knows what these adults were up to, or if they were even the property owners in the first place? For all we know, they could have been random strangers looking to do who knows what in the middle of the woods. If you're thinking of messing with Bloody Mary, think again. The Shadowhunters team learned this lesson the hard way. In this video, they investigate. After one of their devices is triggered in this haunted place, they mess with the spirits here. They find the word Mary written on a mirror.
É o espelho, mano. Tentar filmar certinho aqui. Olha isso aqui, mano.
Then they do what you're told never to do.
Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary.
And she appears.
What is this? Ela.
And they face the consequences.
Nossa senhora! Nossa, mano! Tira ele daqui! Tira! Tira ele daqui! Vem, Thor! Vem! Vem!
With his friend injured, one of the crew appears to go seek revenge against the demon. But as he tries to, this happens. Do you believe in Bloody Mary? The Shadowhunters certainly do now. While in Washington, Louisiana, YouTube crew The G Team Paranormal investigated a 200-year-old steamboat warehouse that's purported to be haunted. Let's see what they found. Right away, the spirits there set the crew's mind at ease. And they're insistent that they're there. Very insistent. The team is trying to communicate with a spirit named Jack.
Cece saw you when we got here.
That EVP wasn't as clear to me as the others, but when they turn off the spirit box and search the bar area, they hear another disembodied whisper. It does sound like someone told her to hurry. She continues her tour of the haunted place, and while walking past a glass door, she sees this. You can see the apparitions pretty clearly, and it's not apparent that anything around her is reflected in the glass. As she turns, you don't see any objects that might explain things. The only logical explanation I can come up with is that parts of the glass may be fogged over from the cold. Coupled with the spirit box communications and the EVP, I definitely think this warrants further investigation. In this house, you'll expect a jump scare around every corner. After experiencing paranormal events in his family home, this man decided to take some video to see if he could capture anything on camera. Let's take the haunted tour. What is happening here? He finds a flower on the stairs. He claims no one in the household knows where it came from. Is this knock a warning? As the YouTuber believes? Well, upstairs in the bedroom, it happens again. something just threw the clothes from the wardrobe. If those knocks were a warning, I'd take the clothes as a clear message. This ghost wants you to leave. While exploring an old abandoned college, YouTuber Exploring with Macleod jumps out of his skin from this paranormal encounter. Let's watch.
No date on it. What's that one say? Shit's up. So it was that 1983.
It seems to me like the ghost may not appreciate Macleod looking through this album in particular.
So it was that 1983.
Would you stick around to pry around some more? I certainly wouldn't. Published to YouTube by In Jamaica in August of 2017, this big almost catch occurred at the Hellshire Bridge. The camera approaches a large gathering of onlookers surrounding the bridge in question, where cars have pulled to the side of the road to watch the big event. Two young men have managed to nab the croc by the snout using a length of rope. The crowd cheers as the crocodile thrashes about and soon escapes his captors. They try again, throwing the rope into the murky water. After a few failed attempts to recapture it, they give up and the crowd disperses. Many in the comments below blame the lack of catch on the crowd, saying they're making too much noise and scaring the croc away. Perhaps they're right, but if you knew this monster was lurking below, could you suppress your fear? You have probably heard that name, as La Llorona has become quite the legend, especially in Mexico and Latin America, where this video has been getting a ton of attention. This clip, which has been racking up millions of views, appears to be a forest cam video. You can see a figure slowly move across the forest with very slow movements, while many have claimed this is the infamous legend. The flickering effect of the video makes me question the authenticity of it. Nevertheless, even the slightest possibility of this video being real is enough to make it impossible to look away from. It's midnight when Sylvia Slarb gets an iPhone notification that someone is at her door. She looks out the window and doesn't see anything, so she goes back to sleep. The next morning, she remembers the incident and quickly checks her phone. This weird shining orb is what her doorbell cam automatically recorded on that night. I have no logical explanation for this aside from a possible insect, but as far as I know, a bug this small and this far away should not be able to trip the sensor. Therefore, I cannot exclude the paranormal as well. This doll room is said to be quite haunted, and you're about to see why when this tassel starts moving by itself. It looks like certain portions of the covers move by themselves, as indicated by their square motion boxes, but it's actually just this woman who is moving in her sleep and easy to miss. So either this is fake, or the combined paranormal energy of all these creepy dolls is enough to get this ornament to move. This video comes from a YouTube channel in Poland called The Slamming Door, which was named after a loud poltergeist who frequents a small home in Europe. The owner of the home eventually sets up cameras in all of the main rooms to capture the highly aggressive spirit in action. Everything looks normal in this bedroom until about 50 seconds into the video, when the poltergeist demands to be acknowledged. It targets a video game collection and sends cases to the floor. This could have been done with a string, but watch again and it does look like an invisible entity swipes everything off the shelf in one smooth motion with their arm. Also, this is a fairly big gaming collection, so if this was fake, you'd think they would knock over something less expensive that they didn't collect or otherwise care about the condition of. This final video is what finally drove them out of the house once and for all. They enter only to find the house has been trashed, and it seems like a spirit is following them around as they explore room to room. They return to the same bedroom in the previous video, and something is in there with them that makes them jump. On the way out, the kitchen light swings wildly, and a chair briefly pulls out on its own. I wish they would have recorded the entire room so we could verify that no one was in there with them, but they were obviously in too much of a hurry to fully document the occurrence. A YouTuber named Chase on Two Wheels is riding around Atlanta, Georgia with a friend when two strangers approach and ask a lot of direct questions.
Huh? What kind of bike? Yeah.
The men immediately back off when they learn he is recording with a helmet cam. That's when Chase's friend notices something is very wrong. One of the men never takes his hand out of his pocket, and when they review the footage, they see what appears to be some kind of firearm. Maybe they are jumping to conclusions, but there's just no way to know what would have happened next if the men didn't notice Chase was recording. Based on what you've seen here, let me know if you think they really were armed or just making friendly conversation. A warehouse worker gets wrapped up in some wires and stumbles. His grip loosens at the scariest moment, and he almost dumps a heavy ladder on the head of a person who is looking down on their phone. He doesn't really get out of the way in time, but the ladder turns in midair and thankfully misses him. Ironically, the person was on their phone trying to program the very same security system, which caught his near demise on camera. I'm really glad he's okay, because he was not wearing a helmet and would have gotten seriously messed up. This paranormal investigator regularly observes the Savannah Theater. This is one of the first videos Redditor background ad 6785 captured there.
Look how much it slows down.
That's so insane. It's just what threw me off. Wait, show the... Never seen that.
Do you see the thing flying around?
Look how much it slows down.
That's so insane.
Why does it slow down so much? Some in the comments think it's dust or a moth. I do think both theories are likely, but I'd prefer to think there's something more mysterious happening at the Savannah Theater. A man is deep in the forest of Malaysia, looking for supernatural forces that he should probably best leave alone. All he has with him is a flashlight and a camera when he's caught in the presence of something paranormal.
Subhanallah, 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 subhanallah.
He records in the direction he feels the most watched and captures this freaky face between the trees. Once spotted, things go even more wrong in a scary way.
Aku nak sangat berjumpa dengan kau. Apa hal boy? Apa hal boy?
When his light comes back on the face is even closer. A still image taken at 2 minutes and 42 seconds shows what I'm talking about. The upper half of a scary man who I think could be of the spirit realm. A girl is coloring in the living room when her papers blow away despite there being no breeze. Even if the windows are open, the curtains behind her do not move, so this simply shouldn't happen indoors. When the little girl comes back to stare in utter confusion, it just gets worse. The room is silent, no fans are on, so how does this happen? If this is real, then it definitely has to be the work of a poltergeist. Maybe it's already even attached to her. If you've been watching Scary Countdowns for a while, then you've probably come across this video at some point. What other channels don't bother to tell you is that there's an additional 2 months worth of evidence to analyze. But first, let me start with this viral video of their fateful first encounter. On May 3rd, 2011, a strange man who they've never seen before randomly stands outside of the apartment of a YouTuber named Andrew J. Neese. Andrew and his girlfriend do what most people would do and dial for help. Here's the original phone call with the authorities. Tell me if you think it's real.
And he's just like looking up at the window. He's been there for about 30 minutes now. Yeah, male, maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 30, I guess. I can't tell.
There's never an actual voice on the other end, which makes me suspect it could be staged, and I thought 911 operators were trained to stay on the line until police come. That's not what happens here.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's where most channels leave off, but this is actually just the beginning. What most people don't know is that there's another 911 phone call made by his girlfriend the very next night on May 4th to anyone who has ever worked in emergency response. Tell me if this second phone call sounds legit, or if they're just pretending to talk to someone.
I'd really like you to do something about it. Yeah, my boyfriend already made a report. We're at there's a parking lot behind our house. Yeah, 6:50. Okay. Thanks.
Another night passes, and the figure returns, silent and wide-eyed as ever. Andrew gets upset enough to say something this time, and look what happens to the camera when he does.
Hey. Hey.
I don't know what's going on.
A red flash occurs at 58 seconds, a brief electronic disturbance possibly induced by an intensive wave of emotions, perhaps a telekinetic reaction to getting yelled at. I only say this because the exact same curious red flash happened 6 days later on May 12th, except this time, their stalker is not even there. They simply sense him and then the flash appears.
He's not even there!
Alright.
And by June 17th, it's gotten to the point where Andrew's motion sensor camera keeps zooming in on a figure that simply isn't there. The equipment is having trouble focusing. In other words, on the very same spot where their not-so-secret admirer had stood for over a month straight. So is Andrew manually making it go out of focus, or is there an invisible phantom figure really standing there like he says? But I'm getting way ahead of myself by mentioning the events of June. That's a particularly bad month for them, and we still aren't done talking about May 8th to be exact, when they first started to suspect the perpetrator could be supernatural.
Look, he's thrown the window.
His arms are at his sides, and yet something pings off the window.
Fuck, I don't even see him throwing anything.
Oh my god, how is he doing that?
And sure enough, there's another odd flash at 1 minute and 6 seconds, like something's feeding off the peak of their fear, growing stronger. No longer is the watcher satisfied with leering at them from the corner. He now wants inside. A full month of harassment accumulates in scraps of paper, all saying the same word, hello. Apparently, this is some form of psychotic social interaction for whoever's doing this. A creepy game they are just beginning to play. Time only makes the man grow bolder. By June 20th, the tapping is all over their windows. It's the sound of someone's finger against glass, and yet there's no silhouette to be seen. Either they are behind the couch tapping, or they're somehow making this noise from the alley outside. Left on the window is a picture of this creepy smiling face with X'd out eyes. Only someone who's really into the idea of tormenting two totally innocent people would bother drawing this, let alone deliver it in person. Little does Andrew or his girlfriend know they are less than 1 day from seeing him up close for themselves. On June 22nd, there's more tapping, which is not even that unusual by this point. And so Andrew's girlfriend goes to the window thinking that no one is there. She throws open the blinds, still recording for evidence, and waiting for her is the watcher himself, closer than he has ever been before. It's hard to see, but at 47 seconds he's holding an illustration of the same grisly face as before, X'd out eyes, this time with a message that says hello in the same handwriting as the scrap notes left by their door. I doubt he just wants to only say hello for much longer. Soon he will probably be saying goodbye to them, probably moments before he ends their lives. months. So if he's standing outside of the house in May and outside of their window by June, then he will probably be standing somewhere inside their house by July. Thankfully, they managed to move out before my theory gets put to the test. Now, in a different location with iron bars, they finally feel safe for the first time in months, but their hopes of a peaceful life are shattered by the 1st of July when a familiar figure slides in. Something's off about this extra blurry entrance. He doesn't walk into frame so much as simply materializes, and come to think of it, I've never actually seen him move before. Then when it's time to leave, he vanishes, leaving only a faint trace as he walks. It could be the camera, or it could be editing, or it could be an actual ghost, in which case this may have been the last video, but I doubt it was their final encounter. A YouTuber named Shahara Negron and her family have been experiencing some strange activity ever since they moved into a new place. Lately, her daughter has been complaining that her toys have been moving all by themselves, and one doll in particular seems to be at the center of it all.
This doll actually looks like, and it's kind of old. Wow, nothing really precious or special about it, but it just has this feeling about it.
She sits and watches the doll as orbs dance all around. It isn't long before something starts to happen.
This isn't freaky. Oh, I'm about to run. What the? Whoa, what the fuck?
I was thinking that somebody hidden behind the chair was moving it, but then the recliner footrest comes out by itself at the end. As far as I know, somebody would have had to grab a lever on the side or pressed a button, but I don't see anyone. Tell me if you think this family is legitimately being haunted. A Swedish YouTuber named Headgear, aka Daniel Olsen, has a paranormal corner of their home that always seems to be shuffling objects around. All Daniel has to do is set up a camera and wait. So everything from a phone to a baby monitor is making small movements one after the other. Most of the objects are already halfway off camera though, so therefore moving them wouldn't be that hard to fake. If that blue box moved in the back, I would be more convinced. Also, the fact that nothing on the top shelf moves makes me all the more suspicious. But hey, I guess the poltergeist could have just been interested in the bottom row. I wish he got more of the bottom area to show he wasn't moving stuff around himself, but to be fair, I think Daniel was also trying to get the mirror in the shot. Based on this next video I'm about to show you, at 5 seconds something smacks his camera, yet we see nothing in the mirror. Then this strange shadow makes barely discernible movements in the upper corner of the room, hardly visible unless you know where to look, and even then still fairly difficult to see. A YouTuber named Q-Bangai receives a deep web mystery box with a pile of old electronics inside. He notices an outdated cassette player with headphones, so he puts them on and hears a woman saying the same thing over and over again in a different language. Listen to this part and let me know if you can translate. Something about the woman's tone sounds menacing to me, almost as if she is making a twisted prediction. If you speak the language, please let me know if I am right. A Twitch streamer named Nikki is at the height of her game when her stream ends in a way that absolutely no one in her chat could have predicted.
Back home. What are you doing?
Nikki jumps up to see what's wrong and is greeted with shouting demands. If you can understand what she is trying to say back to them, then please let me know.
Pee. Please pee. Let's go boots.
A strange man briefly comes in and begins ransacking the house for valuables. You would think that's where their plans would end, but apparently the plan was also to force them to go to the bank and make large cash withdrawals. Thankfully, her viewers called the police quickly, and at least one of the assailants was caught on the spot. Still, for just a regular stream, this ending is extremely unexpected. I'm just happy the residents of the home were okay. A tropical storm has passed through here, and aside from causing a messy yard, this family seems to have been largely spared from the bad weather, or so they think. Luckily, everyone is alright, and fortunately, the tree didn't go through their house. So if you live near the woods and have a serious storm pass through, remember, this scary CCTV video is exactly why you wait until it's dry before going outside. This video was supposedly taken by a robotic camera while surveying an old oil tanker. A school of fish briefly swims in front of the camera, and suddenly one of the fish gets nailed by a spear in front of the camera. Something fast swims by to collect the fish shortly after. Many people believe that this video demonstrates the possibility of some kind of advanced sea creature who uses tools to hunt. After all, there's no reason for a person to be this far underwater hunting with a spear, and whatever moves in front of the camera is too fast to be a person. Of course, the obvious answer is CGI, but I would love to get your thoughts. While walking in the Fox family cemetery, this couple's dog started behaving strangely. Published by Matthias Ager in November of 2013, this footage captures the dog freaking out about something unseen. Only a few gravestones are scattered throughout the fallen leaves, and the cemetery is empty, except for all those below the ground, of course. The dog appears on high alert and is looking in one direction in particular, at this gravestone. He even starts growling and backing away from it. What does he see? Well, many in the comments are telling the trio to leave. Bushy Brow Sensei agrees, writing, I was thinking maybe the dog could smell the remains, but that last reaction was definitely fear. I think it's time to go. Most unidentified flying objects involve blinking lights. This one has no light, which perhaps adds to its mystery. Published by Burbex in June of 2021, this mysterious video captured a triangular-shaped unidentified flying object in the sky over Shanghai, China, which caused some speculation on the internet. The dark triangle was captured overhead in multiple videos, piercing through the clouds or smog as they shift past. According to Burbex, some of this footage was filmed from the Panorama Hotel, and in the video, he is on a mission to solve the mystery. He heads to the hotel where an unusual number of police and security officers are gathered outside, but there reportedly was an alleged gas leak on the next street over. Burbex heads inside and up to the 27th floor where one of the videos was filmed. Looking over the bund, it's hard to imagine what could have projected that triangle into the sky. Burbex then talks with other Shanghaiers who spotted the mysterious, unidentified flying object. One of them shows the photo he captured on camera from below. He notes that the shape of the building is a triangle and there are lights on the top of the building. When the lights are cast upward and clouds are overhead, the lights bounce off of them, creating the triangular image in the sky. Although some might be disappointed that this isn't an unidentified flying object, for others, solving this mystery is incredibly satisfying. A strange creature sighting in Russia on a store camera is about as creepy and mysterious as it gets. Two people are standing outside late at night, and all of a sudden one of them is dumped on the ground. You can see something invade his space. At 12 seconds just before he falls, the other man tries to help but is of little use. Whatever has a hold on his friend is too strong, and so he runs back into the store. At 21 seconds, something briefly appears to hover over the poor man, a strange creature with little shape, perhaps paranormal, and he is pulled off camera. After 10 seconds, it looks like the creature has left, and so the second man goes to check on his friend. At 42 seconds, something invisible splashes a puddle in front of him, and his friend is flung through the entrance. Low quality CCTV videos are pretty easy to edit, so this video might be a fake. What do you think? Yasa is exploring not a tunnel, not a cave, but a haunted well. as in a dark hole straight down. He gets strapped into a pulley system and slowly lowered into the claustrophobic entrance. Right away, he finds a snake at the bottom along with some other scary things that are way more concerning.
في شيء ترى هنا. بسم الله.
A toy blocks a small passage that he can't fit through, but a child can. Perhaps this is where the child who haunts this well crawled to after falling in. As he contemplates this possibility, something comes at him from behind.
المغارة هذه طويلة. هو كهف بس حرارة فيها غير طبيعي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I think this is probably just part of the well, but it also kind of looks like the side profile of a boy's grinning face, rotten teeth and all. Sandra of Two Dimensional Paranormal goes exploring an Irish graveyard. Some people in the comments are saying she's caught a ghost on tape, so let's take a closer look. The first encounter happens at 9 minutes and 25 seconds.
Keep checking back in case it's something there. He was smoking. Yeah, because it's just going past the camera. My hands are dropping off.
The paranormal mist returns about 5 minutes later at 14 minutes and 7 seconds.
I looked at that and I was just about to go there and like turned round. And that's... Honestly, I'm getting freaked. What's that?
It's not her breath because it comes from the darkness behind her. Not to mention this only happens 2 times in the 38-minute video. Considering they're exploring a graveyard for spirits, I think this video could very well be real. Paranormal explorer Thiago Ferracao returns to the Benzedeiras house in this scary video, published in May of 2022. Legend has it that Maria began by doing good, blessing people, but ended by taking her own life after she started doing dark magic rituals. Ever since, her house has been haunted, and Thiago is on a mission to spend the night there. As he enters, someone is standing in an adjacent room. Before he can step inside, the door slams in his face. Is it Maria?
Meu Deus! Ai, foi isso?
When Thiago pushes his way into the room, no one is there. Checking out the corner in which she was standing, they hear an animal in the room.
Cara, tem bicho ali, ó. Olha, uma aranha. Você tá vendo? Sim.
Then it seems like the animal goes after Thiago. Later, as they attempt to communicate with Maria via a spirit box, they hear this.
Que foi isso? Vai.
They continue throughout the house, trying to convince Maria that they are not there to hurt her, but she does not seem convinced.
Tiago.
When the door finally stops banging, they open it. They leave the house wishing Maria peace, but does she wish peace upon them? James Parr records his young nephew as he shrieks at something he sees on the wall. This continues for quite some time. It's hard to tell what the child is thinking, but it seems like a combination of nervousness and excitement. More than once he appears to back away, as if he is fearful of something that is nearby. The child does seem to be completely fascinated by an otherwise blank wall, which is strange, but I am not so sure that this video is paranormal. The kid may just be playing games with his own shadow. What do you think is going on here? This tiny alien-looking body was recovered in the South American desert of Atacama in 2003. Rumors quickly spread that the tiny inch being, which had gigantic pointy eye sockets and 2 missing ribs, had to be from another galaxy. DNA testing quickly revealed a different story. The small human was a member of the local population who had a rare genetic variation of dwarfism that has never been documented before. This discovery would have never been possible if not for this video to generate public interest. When you venture onto the grounds of a former battlefield, take note, it's likely haunted. The YouTuber explains that he and his family were vacationing in Washington, D.C. when they visited the Manassas battlefield. The battle resulted in a large number of passings. Needless to say, this is a place worth haunting, and apparently this YouTuber's got the goods. He writes, "We videotaped there, and later that day we were watching the tape and we noticed the woman dressed in white walking along the fence line. There were no reenactments going on that day, and we didn't see her there. They note that the ghost is walking away from the graves of Mrs. Henry, her daughter, and her son and into a field near the black fence to the left of the house. The Henry house stands on the plateau of the hill on which the battle took place. Judith Carter Henry was bedridden and couldn't leave the house at the time of the battle. A projectile burst through the bedroom wall and took her life. Could this lady in white be Judith? You decide." It's 6 in the morning, and a YouTuber named Sheezy is about to go home after a long shift at the hospital. All he needs to do is return this 1-ton x-ray machine and then clock out. Unfortunately for him, the elevator gets stuck on the 5th floor and suddenly drops to the 1st floor without warning. It happens so fast that the floor numbers don't even register until the very end, but it's not over yet. The elevator rushes from the ground floor to the 5th floor, ready to drop again, and if that x-ray machine slides back and pins him against the wall, it wouldn't matter if he's at a hospital or not, because it's going to flatten him in seconds. This time, he hits the emergency stop before he can drop again. After a minute and a half, engineers rush to get him out of there. A Redditor named RadLad1 made a 3-post series about a possible ghost lurking in his closet. In the first video, he stands outside and hears a dripping noise. It's very quiet, so I'll boost the sound for you to better hear. That sounds like it could be a leaky pipe or something, but look what happens when he goes to open it.
Okay, that's not...
His hand isn't even touching anything when there's a knock from the other side. The question is whether this is a spirit or just someone he knows. The first video piqued Reddit's interest, so he began documenting more. The spirit is in a foul mood on a different night and the noises grow persistent. RadLad1 finds himself reluctantly standing before his haunted closet once again. The air sounds charged with electricity and carries with it a distant wail, and that's when he notices the door is slightly ajar. Okay, so this could be fake, and the second person could be inside the closet, but wouldn't the shadow of their arm show against the wall here when they slam the door? I see nothing. By now, paranormal activity during the day too, whereas before it was just late at night. Everyone is demanding he open the closet and show them what's inside, and he waits until it starts making noises to prove to everyone, once and for all, that this closet is quite haunted. There's absolutely nothing inside but this creepy doll, which says everything I need to know. However, shortly before he opens the closet, there's a brief moment where he zooms out of focus. This could be where he stopped recording to let his friend out, then zoomed back into focus to make it look like a continuous take, but it looks pretty real to me. Scary restaurant video was captured in a bar in Singapore late at night. First, a stool falls over, which I guess could just be a string, but their reaction seems realistic as they all question how this could happen. The entire time, none of them realize that they are being watched by the faint outline of a woman who does not move or make a noise. Maybe it's just me, but it almost looks like this woman's feet are off the ground and she is suspended in the air. This dashcam video shows traffic moving normally across 4 unobstructed lanes when out of nowhere a woman appears in front of a black pickup truck. She keeps walking to the other side like nothing is wrong. The black pickup truck definitely hits its brakes, and the car behind them does so as well, which seems like a realistic response. Then again, there's clearly a red stoplight up ahead, so maybe they were braking for that instead. I don't know why this video is void of color. I'm assuming it's because black and white video would take up less space on the dashcam memory card, but it's safe to say that only a ghost would be able to do what this woman does. On their last walk of the day, Redditor Gaddon420 and his dog heard It sounds almost mechanical, but the YouTuber says it is the sound of a mythical, once extinct giant creature who is said to roam the mountains. The sound is heard repeatedly as the YouTuber continues through the forest. While some are mystified, others are sure this sound is not mythical but rather common. Having listened to some bull elk calls, I have to agree, but if I didn't know any better, this would shake me to my core. Something is watching Sunny and CJ during this Randonautica horror exploration, published in May of 2021. Sunny Deeds writes, "On this adventure, CJ and I traveled back to the haunted Pocomoke Forest for another Randonautica adventure. We never expected this to happen. The this that Sunny is speaking of unfurls in the darkness. They tell Randonautica to bring it on and throw it at us, and are sent by the app to near a cemetery. As Sunny and CJ are outside their vehicle, an eagle-eyed commenter catches hidden people watching them. He writes that one is behind the bent branch over the ditch while the other appears to be recording them back with his or her own camera. Later, you can hear someone walking around if you listen closely. Shortly after, something is being smashed in the distance. That something turns out to be CJ's car window.
What the f was that? What was that?
When the pair return to their vehicle, they find the back window obliterated. It's absolutely shattered with no clear sign as to why. There is a sign, however, as to how. A brick sits amidst the broken glass while the pair scream into the wilderness, asking who's out there. Sunny scans around. Briefly, you can see a light flash in the distance.
It's still cracking or something. Oh my God.
Do we have the answer to who as well? Something is definitely out there, but what he wants, only Randonautica knows. Okay, so a YouTuber named Shadowbreak wants to know if he's caught a ghost on his home security system or if it was something else. His dog is staring at something in the distance when the door opens by itself only a little bit. No one is touching the door, but it kind of looks like it's being held open. 10 seconds after the door opens, the dog's ears go up. It seems to follow something through the yard, almost like somebody walked out the door and past the dog. After staying open for almost 20 seconds, the door suddenly pops open even more for no reason at all. The owners finally take notice and look out, startled, wondering what this could be. It doesn't seem like the wind because nothing else in the video is getting blown around. I can't think of what else besides the wind would make a door open like that, except perhaps a ghost. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.